Hey folks, before we dive in, don't forget to follow S News to catch this and future stories. If you like what you see, please support us by subscribing, liking and dropping a comment. Every bit helps, and we really appreciate it. On July 26, 2025, 140 masked pirates armed with rifles, machetes and explosives opened fire on a US cruise ship carrying 978 civilians, most of them retirees and their families. They thought the hijacking would be easy, but honestly they had no idea the United States had already received a distress call. At 6:15 in the morning on July 26, 2025, international waters off the coast of Somalia suddenly turned into a nightmare. From the horizon, 20 speedboats raced forward, each carrying 7 bare-chested pirates with masked faces and thin, zombie-like bodies. But their eyes were wild and bloodthirsty. All 140 pirates were armed with automatic weapons, machetes, and homemade grenades. They were split into 3 groups and headed straight for the American cruise ship Pacific Monarch, which carried nearly 1,000 American passengers, mostly older vacationers. They didn't yell. They didn't warn anyone. They opened fire directly at the deck like a pack of starving wolves hunting prey. They broke through the security fence, causing chaos and screams among passengers. Dozens of windows shattered and blood stained the deck. One group of pirates stormed the middle deck, forcing women to kneel and stealing handbags, watches and phones. Another group raided the VIP section, looking for billionaires they could kidnap for ransom. They thought it was an easy target, an unprotected cruise ship. They had no idea Americans are never really alone.
In the control room, Captain Richard Kane, 62, a former Navy officer, made a life-or-death decision. He activated a secret distress code and sent it directly to U.S. Navy Command. The message was just 7 words: cruise ship under attack, immediate action.
Just 4 minutes later, at a secret naval base 220 nautical miles away, I ordered an emergency response. I've led 17 international rescue missions, and this one was going to be executed with the precision of a Swiss watch. An MQ-9 Reaper drone was launched instantly, silently hovering above and scanning the ship in full 3 dimensions. Meanwhile, a Virginia-class nuclear submarine carrying 40 Navy SEALs began its approach from the seabed. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer moved to within 2 nautical miles of the cruise ship, pretending to negotiate for ransom, distracting the pirates. On board the Pacific Monarch, the pirates began separating the hostages. Women and the elderly were herded to one side. Many fainted from fear, but the pirates didn't realize their time was running out. In just 47 minutes, the first silhouettes of SEALs would appear beneath the ship.
At 0702, under the dark green waters of the Indian Ocean, the Virginia-class submarine slowed to a crawl just 80 feet below the Pacific Monarch. Inside, the 40 SEALs sat in total silence, helmets on, eyes locked. They weren't boarding just any ship. They were entering a floating hostage maze. The mission was called Silent Steel. The goal: neutralize over 100 armed pirates without harming a single civilian. The stakes: nearly 1,000 American lives, and, a message to the world about what happens when US citizens are threatened in international waters. At 0710, the SEALs moved in 4-man teams. Each wore advanced climbing suits with suction gear to stick to the ship's smooth hull. They emerged from the sea one by one, clinging to the bottom of the ship with magnetic grips. No sound, no light, just rhythm. Overhead drones streamed real-time infrared images directly into the SEALs' helmets. The pirates had gathered over 120 hostages in the central hall on Deck 2. Another 40 hostages were trapped in cabins near the rear. Most of the pirates were still focused on the left side of the ship, watching the decoy destroyer and its fake ransom talks. By 0722, all SEAL teams had successfully climbed aboard and split into 3 assault squads. Alpha Team positioned themselves near the vents above the ballroom. Bravo Team moved along the starboard lifeboat deck. Charlie Team, armed with silenced MP-7S and light disruption gear, snuck through service corridors. They didn't rush. Every breath and step was deliberate. Collateral damage wasn't an option. Inside the ballroom, thermal scans showed 5 pirates pacing with rifles, one right near the door. It was clear who the leader was. Alpha Team received the signal to hold fire and wait for synchronized action. At the same time, a second drone sent a warning about a group of pirates preparing to move hostages onto escape boats. Time was running out fast. At 07:29, Special Forces Commander Harris gave the final order green light, secure all zones, no friendly fire. From that moment, the silence on the ship wasn't calm. It was tension, tightly wound like a spring, waiting to snap. The pirates didn't know it yet, but in just 2 minutes, everything would change. The United States had arrived, not with noise, but with precision, patience, and a plan sharper than any blade.
At exactly 7:31, the quiet in the SEALs' earpieces turned into action. Execute all zones.
In milliseconds, the Pacific Monarch shifted from unbearable tension to controlled chaos. Alpha Team hit first. A flashbang slipped through the ballroom ceiling vent, exploding with a muffled blast and a blinding light. The 5 pirates inside were stunned, eyes burned white, ears ringing. Before they could raise their rifles, 2 of them were taken out by suppressed headshots from above. A third tried to grab a hostage, but collapsed after 2 bullets shattered his collarbone, disarming him mid-motion.
On the third deck, Bravo Team stormed the service stairs. Their silenced MP-7S cleared the hallways. One pirate was found dragging a woman by the arm. He didn't make it to his next step. Another was trying to open a lifeboat hatch. One shot to the base of the skull sent him quietly into the sea.
Hostages in the hallway were ordered to lie on the floor and raise their hands above their heads.
We're the U.S. Navy. You're safe. Stay down.
Charlie Team, moving like shadows, jammed enemy communications with handheld signal disruptors. They breached the kitchen area, where 4 pirates had taken cover behind a metal cart. One tried to throw a grenade, but Charlie's team leader dropped him before he could pull the pin. Above them, an MQ-9 Reaper drone tracked 7 pirates running toward the rear escape boats. They were trying to flee. That's when Viper Sniper Team, recently dropped from a C-130, opened fire from 1,800 feet above sea level. In less than 22 seconds, 5 bodies hit the deck. The remaining 2 raised their hands and dropped their weapons. By 7:37, over 60 pirates had been neutralized. None of the SEALs had been killed.
But it wasn't over yet. Suddenly, a deafening explosion rocked the central staircase. A pirate wearing a suicide vest tried to rush the ballroom. I intercepted him mid-sprint. Using my suppressed rifle as a blunt weapon, I knocked the man out before he could reach the trigger. Elsewhere, a SEAL took a light gunshot to the shoulder. He waved over a medic, reloaded, and kept clearing cabins. By 7:42, the final hallway was secured. The entire assault, from the flashbang to the last room, had taken just 11 minutes. Not a single hostage was killed. 3 SEALs were injured, but only lightly. Most importantly, the ship was still afloat. America had just demonstrated unmatched discipline under fire. Outside, the sun was rising, shining over blood-streaked decks and shattered pirate weapons. On board, all 1,000 Americans were alive. In Washington, a single message was relayed to the White House. The Monarch is secure. No civilian lives lost. The flag still flies. By 07:43, the attack was officially over. There were no more gunshots, screams, or shattering glass, just silence and the low hum of US gear confirming full control. Navy SEAL teams swept the remaining cabins in coordinated motion. In the engine room, 2 pirates were found hiding behind fuel crates. They raised their hands before saying a word. On the upper deck, 3 more were discovered trying to blend in with the hostages. They were quickly zip-tied and detained. Then came the final scene. At the ship's stern, under the bright sun, a group of 12 pirates, the last of them, stood barefoot, shirtless, drenched in sweat, their weapons tossed into the sea. One of them held a torn white bedsheet as a makeshift surrender flag. They dropped to their knees, begging for mercy. They were given none, just protocol. They were searched, handcuffed, and placed under armed guard, awaiting helicopter extraction.
More than 70 pirates were killed, 20 seriously wounded, and the rest surrendered without further resistance. The whole operation, from first strike to final sweep, lasted less than 19 minutes. What's even more remarkable, not a single civilian died. 3 elite SEALs were wounded, 2 from shrapnel, 1 with a broken arm from hand-to-hand combat. All were expected to fully recover. On board the Pacific Monarch, quiet cheers began to rise. Tears flowed, prayers were whispered. Elderly couples hugged. A little girl, holding the American flag she brought for her trip, waved it at the SEALs as they passed by. The ship's PA system crackled to life. "This is Captain Kane. I have one thing to say. You're safe, and you have the US Navy to thank for that." Nearby, the guided missile destroyer that served as the decoy sent in a rapid response boat to collect the captured pirates. Military medics boarded the Pacific Monarch to check every passenger for injuries and trauma. Water, food and blankets were handed out immediately. Helicopters hovered above to secure the airspace. By 0810, the ship was fully under US control, escorted by a destroyer and drone support. The mission wasn't just successful, it was a message. Back at Central Command, Admiral Turner sent a brief report to the Pentagon. Target neutralized, civilians secured, pirates detained, message delivered. And that message was loud and clear. If you threaten American lives anywhere in the world, there will be no escape, no negotiation, no second chance. The US will come for you, with speed, precision and strength. The rescue of the Pacific Monarch was more than a military win. It was a statement of principle. In a world where danger can strike even in the middle of the ocean, it reminded us of one simple truth. The United States protects its people, no matter how far, no matter how fast, no matter how unexpected. With 1,000 civilians held at gunpoint, 140 pirates thinking they could take over a helpless cruise ship, and a ticking clock measured in lives, the US didn't just react fast, it reacted flawlessly. The drones, submarines, snipers and elite teams didn't just defeat the enemy. They did it while protecting every innocent life on board. No hostages were lost, no American was left behind. That's not just military precision, that's national commitment. And to the world watching, the message was stronger than